back you guys to IGCSE Math Solution, and today we'll be attempting the paper 2 of 2020, the specimen paper. Let's just start. One more thing guys, because this paper is of 1 hour 30 minutes, so we'll be trying to complete it in under 1 hour or 1 hour 10 minutes so that we have ample amount of time left to check the paper once again. Also, some of you have been asking me the correct way to solve a paper. Let me just clarify that when IGCSE is making some paper, they make it a point that they start with the easy questions, and as you solve the paper, and the tougher questions are given at the end. So you don't have to start it from the reverse order or any way other way, but just attempt the questions in the given sequence because that is the best way to attempt a paper. So we have this first question. A train leaves Zurich at 10:40 in the night and arrives at Vienna in 7:32 morning the next day. So how much time does the train take? Firstly, from 22:40 till 0000. That is at 12 a.m. So how much time does this make up for? This makes up for about 1 hour 20 minutes. Now next, after this 00, like from 000, we again go till 7 hours and 32 minutes, so that adds on to more 7 hours and 32 minutes. So finally we have 8 hours and 52 minutes. Next they're asking us to work out the percentage of broken glasses in the box. In all there are 80 glasses, out of which 3 are broken. So what we need to understand over here, we'll use unitary method, which is 80 glasses correspond to 100%. So how much will 3 glass correspond to? Let that be x. So all we need to do is cross multiply. This goes over here, this over here. So 80x is equal to 300%. Let's just cancel a 0 from 3.75%. Next they've asked that there is a list of given numbers. Firstly, just try to bring all of them into the same format, as in we have two numbers in decimal, so let's just give it in decimal. 1 upon 3 is also 0.333 recurring, and 3 upon 10 is 0.3. Just shift the decimal from here till here, and to go from percentages to fraction, from percentage to fraction, all that we do is divide by 100. So this is equivalent to 33 by 100, which is 0.33. And mind you, this 1 upon 3 is 0.333 recurring. So if we look at the first decimal place, it is 0.3 in everywhere except for this, so this is anyway out of question. For the second decimal place, we have a 0 over here, a 3, a 0 and a 3. So we have 33% or 1 upon 3. But looking at the third place, if you look here, we have a 0 for third place, but in 1 by 3 we have a 3 again. So definitely 1 upon 3 is the largest number. Chai says 8 centimeter square is same as 80 millimeter square. So why is he wrong? So if you look at it, 1 centimeter is equal to 10 millimeters, and mind you, this is square, not 8 centimeter. So when you have centimeter square, it is 1 centimeter times 1 centimeter. So that is equal to 100 millimeter square. So by the expansion of the logic, 8 centimeter square will be 800 millimeter square. So it is not 80, it should have been 800. Moving on to the next question. See, you have to keep your pace high so that you can complete the paper on time and you have time to check your paper. Next, what we have, y equal to mx plus c. Just substitute into this. So y equals, m is given as -2, x is -7, plus c is -3. So when a negative number is multiplied by a negative number, we get a positive number. So it becomes 14 minus 3, which is equal to 11. So y is equal to 11 in this case. Next we have a stem and leaf diagram question. First what you need to focus on is this key given over here. What does it say? It says that 12 bar 3 represents 123, means you have to split the number into the tenses and the units separately. So if we have 107 over here, we'll split it into 10 bar 7. Also mind you that when you are writing this, you have to keep the units place into an ascending order, as in for 10 we have only one number, which is 107. So I'll just write 7 over here. For 1 we have 116, 118 and 114. So you have to follow this order, which is 4, 6, 8. First, because 114 is the smallest, that will come first. Then for 120 we have 120, 124, 127 and 129. Finally for 130 we have 130 and 132. 130 and 132. So yes, we have done with the stem and leaf diagram. Now for this geometry question, what we have been asked is, construct a triangle with sides 5, 8 and 10 centimeters, and you have to leave your construction arcs. So firstly, I'll just draw a rough sketch. Start by drawing the base. Try and keep the largest side as the base so that it's easier. You don't have to stretch your compass all the way to the largest distance. So using a ruler, just make a 10 centimeter straight edge. After that, use a compass and and a ruler and measure that the compass is straightened out till 5 centimeters, and keeping one edge over here, you draw an arc of 5 centimeters. Now reset the compass to 8 centimeters. Again, keep the pointy edge of the compass on the other end of the 10 centimeter edge, and then make an arc at 8 centimeters. Finally, this intersection, this is the third vertex. Just connect these points using a straight edge. So this will be the 5 centimeter edge and this will be 8 centimeters. That's it, you're done with this question. So firstly, triangle ABC is isosceles and AC is parallel to BD. So ABC is isosceles, meaning the base angles will be equal. Because we have been given this base angle as A, we can assume this to be A as well. So now I am applying that the sum of angles for triangle is 180. We get A plus 40 degrees is equal to 180 degrees. 2A is 140 degrees, A is 70 degrees. Make sure that you write the answers in this given blank as well, because this contains marks. Even though if you have the correct answer in the given space, but you have to write your final answer in the given blank only. Next, the second piece of information is that AC is parallel to BD. So if we see that angle CAB, angle CAB plus angle ABD, ABD, this will also be equal to 180 degrees. And why is that? Because they are interior angles. Sum of interior angles is 180. So CAB is A, ABD, that is A plus B, equal to 180 degrees. So now we know that A is 70, so 2A will be 140 plus B is 180. We get B is equal to 40. Next, we have the question rearrange this formula to make W as a subject. So making a subject is extremely simple. All we have to do is bring the element which we want to make as a subject to one side of the equal to sign and push everything others to the other side. So first let me just take 5W is equal to 3Y minus 7. Now because I want the W alone, I'll just divide the whole thing by 5. So I get W equals 3y minus 7 by 5. So just write this over here. Next question is explain why is root 3 an irrational number. Any number is rational when we can write it in the form of p by q, where p and q are real numbers. They belong to the set of real numbers. Also, q is not equal to 0. Q should not be equal to 0, and p by q, both the numbers are real numbers. Then we can say that a number is rational, but we cannot write root 3 in the form of p by q, so it is irrational. The mass m kilograms of a horse is 429. Write this correct to the nearest kilogram. So whenever you write it nearest to a kilogram, means you can have plus or minus 0.5 kg of an error, meaning if they have given it to be 429, it can be plus 0.5 kg or minus 0.5 kg of this given value. So we can write it as 428.5 kg to 429.5 kg, because they are asking us for 1 kilogram, and we know that if the number is zero point 0.5 ahead, so we can round it down to 429, because it is just less than, not equal to this number. And when it is equal to 428.5, we'll round it up to 429, to the nearest integer value. So if it is given nearest to 1 kilogram, we have to take it to 0.5 kgs on both the sides, upper and lower bound. Triangle ABC is similar to triangle PQR. Now we need to find out PQ. So one thing about similarity is you have first need to see which sides are similar to which sides. Like AB is similar to PQ and AC is similar to PR. So if we divide them, AB upon PQ, AB upon PQ is equal to AC upon PR. So now all we need to do is input the values. 5.2 upon PQ equals 12.4 divided by 21.7. Now we get PQ as 9.1 centimeters. Solve this inequality. So we need to bring this, the inequality is n plus 7 is less than 5n minus 8. Take this 8 to the other side and bring this n to this side. Take all the constants to one side and the variable to the other. So we have 5n plus n is greater than 8 plus 7. 6n is greater than 15. Now we can divide by 6. If you divide it further, you will get it, you can cancel it by 3 and by 5. So n is greater than 2.5. Now if you look over here, they are asking you without using your calculator, which means they want to see the steps. You just cannot input this into your calci and write the final answer. You have to show all your working. So 1 7 upon 12 plus 13 by 20. So this is a mixed fraction. First, what does this mean? Actually it is 1 plus 7 upon 12. So I will take LCM over here as well. So I'll get 12 plus 7 upon 12. So this is equal to 19 upon 12 plus 13 by 20. So 12 and 20, I have the LCM as 60. So I'll just multiply this fraction by 5 and this by 3. So I get 19 times 5. 19 times 5 plus 13 times 3 by 60. 19 times 5 is 95 plus 13 times 3 is 39 by 60, and what you get is 134 by 60. 134 by 60. Now you have to write it in the simplest form, and firstly we'll just divide it by 2. So what we get is 67 by 30, and we have to write the answer as a mixed number. So I'll just separate this out as 60 by 30 plus 7 by 30. Again 60 by 30, this turns out to be 2 plus 7 by 30. Now just as we change this mixed fraction into improper, now we had an improper fraction and we are changing it to mixed fraction because they've asked us to write it as a mixed number. So you can write this as 2 7 by 30. Here we have been given a sequence. So if you just see that for every jump all you have to do is subtract 2. First you subtract 2 from 7, you get 5. So in that manner the next term will be minus 1 minus 2, which is minus 3. To write the nth term expression, t of n, which is the nth term, is a plus n minus 1 into d. So a is the first term. Our first term is 7. 7 plus n minus 1, and d is given as minus 2. So if we simplify this, we get 7 minus 2n plus 2, which is 9 minus 2n. We have that a hexagon has 5 angles, each of them measure 115, and we have to calculate the sixth angle. firstly, hexagon is a six-sided figure, and we need to find the sum of angles, all angles in this polygon. So either you can use this formula, which is n minus 2 into 180 degrees, or a more intuitive way is divide the polygon into many triangles. Like you have four triangles, which means the sum of angles will be 4 times 180. So this is the total sum, and we have been given that 5 angles measure 115. So firstly, let the sixth angle be x. So what we have is x plus 5 into 115 is equal to 4 into 180 degrees. So you get x is 720 degrees minus 575 degrees, 145 degrees. So x is the value of the sixth angle is 145 degrees. Mind you, don't write that x is equal to 145 degrees, because this variable was introduced by us. So we can use it in the calculation by writing that let the sixth angle be x, but please don't write it in the final answer. Just they have asked for the answer, so give them the answer only. We have to calculate the area of this trapezium. We have again two ways. Either you can divide this into a rectangle and a triangle, or what you can do is, like for doing it in this way, we know that this side is 8, so opposite sides of a rectangle are equal in length, so this will also be 8, and because this total is given to us as 12, this will be 4. But for a different approach, what you can do is area is equal to half into a plus b into h, where a and b are the opposite but the parallel sides. They are these parallel sides, and h is height of the trapezium. Now what is the height for this trapezium? Here we know that this is a right angle triangle, because here we have all these angles are 90, and this is angles on a straight line. So because this is 90, this will also be 90. So using Pythagoras' theorem, we can calculate this side. Let just this be d, sorry, not d, e. So we have 8 square is 4 square plus ec square. So you get 64 minus 16 square root of this as ec, which is also the height of the trapezium. You get that as 48, square root of 48. So finally the area is half, it is half into 12 plus 8 into square root of 48. This turns out to be half into 20 into square root of 48. This is equal to 69.28. So the answer is 69.28. Moving on to the next question. Venn diagrams, they are extremely scoring part of a paper, so please see to it that you attempt them, because there are minuscule details which you have to focus, and that's all. Like, we have, it is complement of A union B. Complement of A means apart from everything apart from A, like all this part apart from A but not A. And union with B. Union means whatever I already have plus I want the complete B, meaning this whole part. So what do I have finally? I need complement of A union B. So I have all this part, leaving this only A part, I have to shed everything else. Let's just do it in a systematic manner. So I'll just fill this. So we have the complete B portion and the outside portion, but not this A part. Here we have D intersection E. D intersection E is this part, this region, and I want the complement of that. Complement means leaving this, I need everything. I have to select everything apart from this. So I have whole of this region, but now I want intersection with F. So all this region, how much of it is intersecting with F? So the part which is intersecting with F is this part. So just to make it clearer in the end, our answer is this part right here. We want all of it, but not this part which is intersecting with D and E. Now they are asking you to use a calculator, and it will be extremely easy if you use it, but I am a kind of guy who likes to keep the calculator away for some time. So what we can do is 29 minus 3 into, you can just input this into your calculator and you will get the answer. Just keep in mind the BIDMAS rules. BIDMAS, what it says is, first you do is brackets, then you have indices, then the usual division, multiplication, and add and subtract. So just keep these things in mind while inputting it into the calculator, because sometimes it might give you a different answer. So but apart from that, let's solve it. So 32, I can write it as 2 to the power 5, and I already have a power zero point 0.4 multiplied by that in the indices. I have a square root which is equivalent to the power half, and division by 3. So now 5 to the power 5 multiplied by zero point 0.4, it gives me 2. So this is, I can write this as 29 minus 3 into, this part will turn out to be 2 square. 2 square is 4. Now square root of this by 3. Now next, continuing over here, I have 29 minus 12. 4 3s is 12, square root by 3. 29 minus 12, square root of 17 by 3. If you want, you can now finally input this into your calculator and write the final answer, or you could directly just input this, the value given to you, into the calculator and write the decimal value. We get 1.37. Write the recurring decimal. Let me just clear this part a little bit. 0.32 dot. So let us just assume x is equal to 0.32 dot. Now what does this dot mean? It means this is a recurring fraction of the type 0.3222, and this 2 will continue. Now because I know that the recurring part occurs after the second place, after two places you get the recurring 2. So let me just first multiply it by 10. 10x. What do I get by 10x? 10x is 3.2, whatever, 3.2 point. Now if I subtract 10x, like this is my first equation and this is the second one. So if I subtract the second equation from the first equation, I get 10x minus x, that is equal to 3.2 point minus 0.32 point. So if I write it a little bit expanded, I get 9x is 3.222 and the 2's continue, minus 0.322 and again the 2's are continuing. So if you see, till the second place of decimal everything is getting cancelled. So the part which I need to worry about, I get 9x over here, this is 3.2 minus 0.3. I hope that you understand that this 2 to this part after the second decimal place is cancelling out all the part after this. After this everything is getting cancelled due to this part. So 3.9x, this turns out to be 3.2 minus 0.3, which is 2.9. Now because we have to write it as a fraction, I'll just multiply both sides by 10. I get 90x is equal to 29. Now there is no common factor dividing both of them because 29 is prime. I get x is 29 by 90. So the fraction which I had assumed was x, I get it to be equal to 29 by 90. Just to cross check, you can input this into your calc. Now we have different graphs and we have their function. First one has been done for us. The graph E is y equal to x plus 1. The best way to solve for these is input some values of x, as in easiest value of x, let x be 0. So what value of y do we get? We get y is equal to 1. And because already this function E has been used, so we'll just keep it out, because we know that one function can represent only one graph, so E will not be used again. So now I have y is 1 minus x by 3. Because we have assumed let x be 0, we get the value of y to be 1, and that is the case only in this part. Also what you can see is the slope is negative. The angle that it is making with the x-axis is obtuse, so the slope is negative, and that is what has been given in the function. So this is graph A. Now for this one, y equal to 2x square, we know it will be some kind of upward parabola. So let us assume that x is 0 again, because that is the easiest one. We get even y should be 0 for that. we have two parabola. For x is equal to 0, y is also 0 only in this C part. So we know that this will be the C graph. Now we have something interesting. Now because actually this, to tell you, this will be a hyperbola. This is the equation of a hyperbola, but assume that we don't know what this is. If you try to input x as 0, you will see that you cannot, because you'll get y to be negative of infinity, so which is not defined. So let me input some other value. Let me just take x as 1. When I take x as 1, and mind you, now what options do we have left? This cannot be b because this is not a parabola, our function given, and also it is not a straight line. We have only d and f remaining contenders. So when I input x as 1, I get y to be minus 4, means for a positive value of x I am getting a negative value of y. So this is surely not the case. Like for suppose x equal to 1 appears somewhere over here, and here I am getting a negative value for y, so this is the correct one. So we get graph D over here. So that is how you solve these questions. Assume some values and see which graph satisfies that. A soccer team plays two matches. The tree diagram shows the probability of the team winning or losing the matches. So find the probability that the soccer team wins at least one of the two matches. They are saying at least, meaning that they can, how many matches can they win altogether? They can win just one, or they can win both the matches. So for this, either you will have to take this route, which is win and then again win, or they can win and then lose to win just one game, or they can first lose and win the second game. Otherwise, a better choice for these questions is to find out, this is at least once they win. So let me find out the probability of they winning none of the matches, that is they lose both matches. First they lose and even the second match they lose, which means it is this track. So I go from here and then again to the losing path only. 2 by 3 times 1 by 4, which is 1 by 6. Just cancel out 2. I get 1 by 6. Now because I wanted the probability of them at least winning once, and I have found of them winning none, meaning probability of them losing both matches plus probability of at least one win is equal to 1, because only it can be either this case or this case. There are only two options, so we know that probability should always equal to 1 for two cases. When these are only the two only cases, then they are always equal to 1. So I have found that the probability of them losing both matches is 1 by 6. So probability of them winning at least one, that is 1 minus 1 by 6, which is 5 by 6. AB is an arc of a circle of radius 9. Length of the arc AB is 6 pi centimeter. First let us assume that this is some theta. So we have been asked that the area of sector is k pi centimeter square. We have to find k. So firstly, because this AB, the length of this arc has been given as 6 pi, we know that the AB will be equal to theta by 360 into 2 pi r. AB is given as 6 pi, and we have to calculate firstly theta into 2 pi into 9, and do check that all the given units are same. We have in centimeter and centimeter square, so no conversion to be done. Now to calculate theta, I have 6 pi times 360 divided by 18 pi, so I get theta to be 120 degrees. Now area of this sector, in a similar manner, area will be theta by 360 into pi r square. In case you're wondering where did this theta by 360 term come in, all that I am doing is using unitary method. When this theta is 360, I mean we have a complete circle, the area is pi r square, only that. But when this theta is not 360, we have to divide the circle, as in if this was 180 degree, if we have a semicircle, the area will be pi r square divided by 2. So if theta was 180, because we divided theta by half, our area will also accordingly be divided by half. Half times pi r square. So using that same logic, we have been given the area is k pi, and because we know theta is 120, we get 120 by 360 into pi into 9 square. So k pi is 1 by 3 pi times 81. So k is 81 by 3, which is 27. K is 27. So now what we have is a box and whisker plot, which we see over here. Just a quick note about this. This line which divides the box, this shows us the median. The median of the data is signified by this line in the center of the box. Also, the ends of these whiskers, these are called whiskers, they show the range of the whole data. And this one right here is the lower quartile, and this one is the upper quartile. Quartiles are, if you remember it this way, then you draw a cumulative frequency curve which looks something like this, and at 50% you get the median, 50%. At 25 you have the lower quartile, and at 75 what you get is upper quartile. So let's just start. Tom says that the monthly costs of electro company are lower. The monthly cost of electro company, if you see that the median of the electro company and the median of Spark, because the median of electro company is greater, median of electro is greater than Spark, so we can say that the average cost of electro is greater. So in that sense, Tom is wrong. Tom is wrong for the first one, for first statement. He also states that electro company, the costs for electro company are lower and vary less than Spark. Now what does a data vary mean? Variation in data can be found out by finding the interquartile range. interquartile range, which is actually upper quartile minus lower quartile. So if you want to see in this diagram the side length of this box, this shows the interquartile range or the variation in the costs. So if we go to see, then the variation in cost is lower for electro company as compared to spark. So the second statement term is correct. Term is correct for statement 2. See, here we have the completing the square method that we have to use to find the turning point. We can easily spot that this is going to be a parabola because it is going to be y minus something equal to x plus something whole square. So just to compare, a perfect square is of the type a plus b the whole square, which turns out to be a square plus 2ab plus b square. Now if we compare the RHS of the given equation with this, so what we get is a is equal to x. Also 4x is equal to 2ab. Now 4x, we know that a is equal to x, so we can write it as 2xb, which gives us that b is equal to 2. So now y is equal to x square plus 4x, and we have the first and second term of our square, but we need a third term, the constant term, which is going to be b square, and we have the value of b as 2, so that is going to be 2 square. This is our square part. Now because we have added this 2 square, we need to remove that as well to balance, and we have this minus 3 already given. So this turns out to be y is x plus 2 the whole square minus 7. So y plus 7 is equal to x plus 2 the whole square. So if we compare it with y equal to x square, the parabola looks something like this, which is y is equal to x square. Now if I add, instead of this y, I have it as y plus 1 equal to x square. For this one, the turning point is 0, 0. You see, just at the origin, the graph again turns and moves upwards. If I have y plus 1, then if I input x is equal to 0, I get y as minus 1. So this whole thing will shift downwards. So this point will become minus 1, 0. So using that same logic, I can say that if I have y plus a equal to x minus b the whole x plus b the whole square, then the turning point will be minus b comma minus a. So using that same logic, I get the turning point as minus 2 comma minus 7. Now to find out x, firstly you can straight away see to it that x will be equal to 55. And why is that? Because this angle and this angle are same due to alternate segment theorem. Alternate segment theorem. I'll soon be making a video on this and I'll be posting it on the channel. So do remember to subscribe to my channel so that you can get updates about it, and turn on the notification icon. Next, for finding out y, we know that all 4 points A, B, C, D, they are lying on the circumference of a circle. So this polygon has a special name known as cyclic quadrilateral. Now cyclic quadrilaterals, what you can see is the opposite angles add to 180. So using that logic, y plus 65 degrees should be equal to 180 degrees. So I get y as 115 degrees. Y is 115 because opposite angles of cyclic quadrilateral. Now we need to simplify. So firstly, if we go to see that the cube root of 27, it turns out to be 3 because 3 to the power 3 into x to the power 6. 27 can be written as 3 cube. Now I have 1 by 3. Now I'll take this power on the inside. So what I get is 3 raised to 3 by 3 into x raised to 6 by 3. Now this is equal to 3 into x square, 3x square. Next we have to find the value for this. We know that 64 x raised to 4, zero point 0.5 is nothing but half, which is square root, into 4, and x raised to minus 2 means it is x square in the denominator. So now what I can write is 64, square root of 64 is 8, and square root of x raised to 4 will be x square times 4 upon x square. These x square get cancelled and I get 32 as the answer. Now we have the simultaneous equation. Normally we eliminate one of these or we substitute. Here you can see that the substitution method will turn out to be extremely easy. So let's just substitute 5x square plus 4x minus 19 is equal to, this is also y, so I'll just substitute this 4x plus 1. Now let me just cancel the 4x term. I get 5x square equals 20. So x square is equal to 4. Now when I take square root, mind you, I get x as plus or minus 2. Normally we forget the minus 2. When we take square root, we only write plus 2. But even by seeing these answer blanks, we know that we'll get two values of x, which is plus 2 and minus 2. Now we'll just substitute back in this linear equation because it will be easier. So y is equal to 4 times 2 plus 1. So y is 8 plus 1, y is 9. So when x is positive 2, y is 9. When x is negative 2 plus 1, what I get is minus 8 plus 1, which is minus 7. So when x is minus 2, y is minus 7. So that's how easy it was to solve the simultaneous equation. And yes, so we are done with this paper. We should always try whenever starting with a paper that if we have a paper 2, because it is for 1.5 hours, try to keep it in under 1 hour, so that what you will have is you will have a good 30 minutes for revising your paper to see if you have left some questions which you couldn't attempt in the first go. You can go to them back, and you should always try to attempt the paper in the given order, because that is the easiest one. When you will be doing paper 4, that is for 2.5 hours, so here also you should aim for 2 hours, but a plus or minus 10 minutes will not harm anything, because these papers tend to be lengthy. You have graph questions and questions which have a lot of sub questions in them. Here we did not have much of those type of questions, we had individual questions. So for paper 4 you can have this plus or minus 10 minutes, but paper 2, try to complete it in 1 hour. And thank you guys. If you have any doubts, make sure that you mail them to me. My email ID is given down in the description box. Also, do follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. All the links are there down in the description. And do remember to subscribe to my channel. And finally, in the end, just share it with everyone, whoever requires it. It'll be helpful for them. And yes, keep watching to my channel.
Be strong.